Hi and welcome back. Now that we've created the main section for R2D2, we've created the legs, we've created pieces of the head, we're going to go ahead and create that center section of the leg that is a slightly bit smaller, which R2D2 uses to stabilize itself when it walks. So to achieve this, we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of recycling to sort of achieve our goal. So the first thing we need to do is we need to change this first reference image right here in the back because I have something a little bit more updated for that. As you can see, the front one is okay because it doesn't interfere with the rest of the reference, but for this one, we need a brand new one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put it on left perspective. I'm going to hit X, delete that element that I don't need, and then I'm going to do Shift A, and then I'm going to create image, reference, and I'm going to get the R2D2 side 02, which has that right image. So as you can see, the alignment is a little off. So of course, you're going to do Alt-C, go into X-ray mode, and then take the plane itself, and then first move it and get it out of the way. That direction, I'll go ahead and turn off snap. And then it's when you have it lined up in the right perspective, then you take this and you go ahead and you line it up as best as you can with your model. See, good enough. Okay, cool. So how are we going to achieve this? We're going to achieve this was actually taking some of the parts of R2D2 and just recycling it in. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and grab one of the elements from his foot, and then we're going to go ahead and make a copy of that and such. And with that, we'll use that as the basis for the mesh for his feet. So how do we achieve this? So let's go do Alt-C, get out of this, and then go right to this foot right here. And this element we're going to be using in edit mode is going to be this one right here. So to grab the whole element, you press L while you hover over it, you have it, and then you do Shift D, and then followed by Y, so it copies into the right axis inside. So as you can see now that I've copied it, I put it down. But the problem that we have now is that it's still part of the mesh, so we have to separate this. So how are we going to do this? To separate this, we're gonna, while you have that element selected, you're gonna go ahead and press P, and you click by selection, and then what it's done, it's detached that element from the foot that you're gonna be using for the front foot. So when you've done that, you get out of object mode, and then now we have to fix the pivot on this object so we can work a little bit with it. So what we're gonna do is right-click, set origin, and then set geometry to origin. And then when you move it to the side now, make sure you got the right one selected. As you can see now, you have a selection you can start to work with. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start adjusting this mesh so we can fit all the dimensions that we need. So we're going to go to Alt-C, and we're going to go into X-ray mode, and then object mode to edit. So as you can see, there's a little bit of misalignment here. So I'm going to turn on wireframe and object mode and turn on X-ray, and then I'm going to take this and line it up so it's kind of more or less facing here. So good, now it's lined up, so now we can start fixing the front part of this element. So I'm going to go to edit mode, and then I'm going to start in moving some of these vertices to the proper location. So the first place is going to be the socket connection joint right here that I'm going to move. So I'm going to press 1 to go to vertices, select them all. And then I'm going to go ahead and take this and move it where it's a little bit close to lined up right here. That's good. And then the top, that needs to be slid down a tiny bit. And then what you can do with these sides, instead of moving them individually, you can select 2 of them. And then if you go to scale, you non-uniform on the green axis and scale it until your mesh fits right where you need it to be. And then you do the same for the top one. Boom. And all the side ones. And the bottom ones. So now, as you can see, we've started to change this little foot element to have it fit our needs, and then we're going to go ahead and switch it into the next perspective. And then we're going to go ahead and adjust this based on the measurements for this. But to make this easy, a little bit easier on us, let's go ahead and go into object mode, and then we are going to go ahead and hide this element here so it doesn't get in the way. So you select it, hit H, and then no, apparently my message does some weird thing, so I'm going to go ahead and have to adjust it, but that's fine. Hopefully it's not going to be the case for you. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it to the left perspective, and I'm going to hit Alt-C to go into X-ray mode, and then edit, and take these right here and move it to the correct positioning. And then, you know what, to avoid those issues, let's just go ahead and manually move the mesh this time. So we're going to go ahead and take this, move it to the side. And you're going to do that for all the elements. So there you go. Now we have that first part of his foot already created. So let's go see how that looks. And if I go ahead and exit object mode and hit Alt-H, hide the rest, and you can kind of see how it looks. Apparently my R2D2 was moved a bit, so let's go ahead and do that. And as you can see now, we have the little foot for R2D2. So what's going to be the next part we're going to do? Next part we're going to do is create the connection point up to the bottom of the torso right here. So to do that, we're going to actually grab this piece and we're going to modify it to fit exactly our needs when it comes to this figure. So how are we going to do that? So we're going to go into Object, to Edit mode. And you know what, just to make this easier, go ahead and get out of hit this and hide everything I don't need so it doesn't get in the way. Here we go. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go into edit mode. And then inside of edit mode, go to X-ray so I can grab all these meshes. And then I am going to press 3 to go to face mode, grab all the ones that I need. Nice selection. And then I am going to do Shift D to duplicate, and F followed by Y, so it moves in the Y axis like that. And then when I've set it to the side like this, I'm going to go ahead and hit P and detach it. So now that that's done, I can get out of this. This figure is finished right here, so I can take this and hit H. Oop, one, H. And then this piece right here I'm going to modify. And as you can see, go to the front view, there's a little bit of difference of how that piece works in relation to the one we just detached. As you can see, it's a bit smaller, so we're going to scale that. And it also needs to be mirrored to the other side because it's a little bit different than this one. Right here, for example, this piston right here only exists to one side of his feet. And in the center one, it exists to both sides. So what are we going to do to achieve that? So we're going to first take this mesh right here. We're going to go into edit mode. And we're going to go ahead and turn on X-ray and press 2 to go to edges. And then I'm going to select all these that run along right here. And then I'm going to go and do a loop cut right down the center. And then one of the things I noticed when I did this the first time, as you can see, when you do the loop cut, it doesn't line up straight. And since I'm going to mirror this to get the new mesh, I need this to line up a little bit straight. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So how do you do that? An easy way to do it, if you go to the top view, and then you go to scale. If I non-uniform scale it on the green axis, as you can see, it's going to straighten it all out. So you have to wait till it kind of lines up nicely. Boom, cool. That's good. And so now, as you can see, I have a nice point where I can actually split this mesh. So I'm going to go ahead and take this line, move it a tiny bit more, so because I need it to be more or less centered. Good. Nice. And so what am I gonna do after that? Now I'm gonna go ahead and put it into front view. Alt C for X-ray mode again. And I'm gonna press 3 to go to face mode. And I'm gonna select all of these right here. And I'm gonna hit X and faces. And then I'm gonna rotate to make sure I didn't miss anything. So as you can see now, I have a good even split for this that I'm gonna be using for that element. So the next part is going to be, I'm gonna put it facing forward. Turn off X-ray, and what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna set this up to be able to mirror it. So as you can see, this little thing right here, that's the pivot, and we can't have that be there. So we're gonna go into front view like this, and then you're gonna go to this tool right here, which is the cursor, lets you set a location. And then with the cursor on, I'm gonna go turn on snap, go to vertex, and then I'm gonna click right there, more or less the center of the mesh, which is a nice little point. So probably go into this perspective and do it roughly in the center. So let's see if I can do that. No. So it's more or less the center, so when I mirror it, it's not going to be an issue, even though it's not right in the center. So right after I do that, what's going to be the next step? The next step is going to be exit X-ray mode, and then I'm going to go right here to the little wrench, modifier properties, and I'm going to add a modifier that is mirror. And as you can see, when I mirrored it, it's not the right location, so you need to go to the axis right here and click on the appropriate one. So as you can see, my mirroring is a little bit off, so I'm gonna have to find a way to move that. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop this video right now, and then we'll go towards the next part cover the next part in the next video.